Welcome to the world's first Straight Talk Solarcast. This is your go-to podcast for answers about solar. Brought to you by Solar Harmonics in Northern California, who invite their customers to own their energy by purchasing a solar panel system for their home, business, or farm. Each episode, we discuss questions facing people making the decision to go solar. The solutions to your questions are given to you straight by one of the leading experts in the solar industry, Jamie Duran, president of Solar Harmonics. Feel free to search our library for answers to questions that you're facing when considering solar. And now, here's Adam Duran, our host with the questions, and Jamie Duran, our solar expert with Straight Talk Solarcast.
Hello, Jamie.
Hello, Adam.
How's everything in the land of solar this week?
Well, it's been a couple weeks, so we have some good things and we have some not so good things. What do you want to start with?
Let's go with the good.
Okay.
I'm sure it's short. That's why.
How did you know? So, and it probably does, it affects 1% of our audience, but it's good news is
Okay.
that a lot of schools who went solar with the promise of, reduced electricity costs and so forth.
Yes.
They used a program called aggregate net metering, which meant they could tie all of the solar power from the parking lot solar to one PG&E meter. And
Awesome.
great idea, because then they don't have to tie, 10 panels to this meter, 10 panels to this meter.
Right.
And then all the solar fed one meter. But the benefit, the solar production could go to several meters.
Mm-hmm.
And so January 1st, that went away. And so now it was not allowed. And
Wait,
the
so
school,
can I just clarify or have you clarify? So if I have a large installation or a large piece of property,
Yep.
it's not like I have one meter, right? I have
correct.
multiple
20.
meters
Yeah.
on one bill.
Yep.
Okay.
One bill.
Or multiple bills that are just paid at the same time, right?
Right. And so as long as the meters are on the same parcel of land or contiguous parcels, meaning they're next to each other, or even
Right.
across the street, we can just do one large solar array to take care of all of those meters.
That sounds common sense because it's probably one payer, right?
Exactly. And one
entity
owner
paying.
for sure. Yeah. And
Okay. That
like I
sounds
said,
good.
so then you wouldn't have, 10 panels feeding meter 10, 20, and then 1,000 panels feeding meter number one. It was, you could, because then people just said, well, I'm not going to do
Right.
meter 20. I'm just going to do meter one.
Mhm.
So now the schools, as they're using more power and just, more students or whatever, they're finding, hey, we have these gigantic remainder PG&E bills, and what are we going to do about it? We need to add more solar. And so they're saying, okay, well, we're going to add more solar, but without the aggregate net metering, that means they lose their first round of the aggregate net metering. And if it's not available anymore, that means now they got to go back to the 10 panels on meter 20. They got to go, in 30 pounds. So the California legislature just approved a bill that would allow this to continue. And now it's going to the governor's desk for approval.
So PG&E wanted to discontinue the ability to do that.
Correct. Yes.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Hooray! Huzzah!
Well, yeah.
Huzzah!
You see all the commercials with
Huzzah!
PG&E. There's not one PG&E commercial that doesn't have solar power in it, but
Or Chevron, right?
or Chevron, or any coal company or whatever.
They're all green.
Or clean coal.
Yes.
In any event, so yeah, that could be coming back, which is really great because we do have lots of large customers, and the power grows. They might add 20 electric vehicle outlets in the school parking lots, which is getting more and more common.
Sure.
And free charging would be sweet.
Oh, for the teachers, that's exactly what that's for. Nice.
Hey, and they're hardworking and
heroes.
Yeah, and then in the summer, nothing in the parking lot. But in any event, it is good news because if a school, I've heard of some schools up in Napa County that have $1 million electricity bill even after going solar.
Oh
And
my
right.
God.
And so
Wow.
they're like looking at how can we, do we build a solar farm? And I'm saying, yes, you should.
Hmm.
But now you need the land for it and so forth. But at least if this does go through and gets approved, then that would be really good news for schools and for businesses and, commercial properties, farms, those kind of things that
Yeah.
do have 20 or 30 meters on the property. And
HOAs. Even.
HOA, no more of those. And then, but yeah, we like farms. I love eating, so
Yeah.
farms is great. And I do like living, but HOAs, they have a place. They have a place for sure. All right, ready to
What's
move
the
to
bad news?
Oh yeah.
All right, everybody,
So,
just turn us off now.
well, it's not necessarily bad news. It's weird news.
Okay.
So when you're a solar contractor in California, you've passed the solar contractor exam, and in some cases, more than once, and or I had to take it more than once.
Yeah. Okay.
But in any event, so
Sure.
you've paid the fees, your insurance bonded, licensed, and the intention is that you can install solar. Well, batteries were just kind of flopped onto the solar license, and it was just assumed that solar guys, they can install batteries. Well, turns out batteries are pretty complicated, and
Oh
so
wow. Okay.
there's a lot more to it. And in most cases, the batteries, you're installing what's called a critical load subpanel, where you as the homeowner would designate what circuits you want backed up in case of an outage.
Okay.
And so it's generally, a few lights, TV, internet, and a refrigerator. And so then the solar guy was saying, okay, well, I can run a critical load subpanel, which means tapping into the main service panel, running it to installing a new subpanel, and then connecting the battery there. So I mean, it's kind of complicated. And as a licensed solar installer, would I want to install one? Oh no way. I'm not interested. So we use licensed electricians,
Right.
and the electrician would install it. And they're not inexpensive, but it's done right. And they're licensed. They've had a lot more training in electrical. So the contractors board agrees with me, and that it should be a electrical person or electrical contractor that's installing these. And so now lots and lots and lots of solar companies are installing solar and batteries in California with only a C46 license, which is a solar installer license. So contractors board came out on Monday, said, if you have a solar license, that means you install solar. And if you want to install a battery, you need to get your C10 license, which is the electrical. And so many solar companies only have a solar license. So
wow,
that's going to really,
I don't want
really
my house
shrink.
burned down.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
And we'll see there. I'll get to this in a second, but what that's going to do is it's going to make it really difficult for a solar company to stay in business if they only have a solar license and they're trying to install batteries. And batteries are the big thing in California because of the energy metering 3.0. So it's really going to constrict even more the companies that can install batteries. And so it's a problem. It's going to be difficult. And but yeah, not good news for the solar industry. Probably great news for the homeowner and great news for the electricians because they are going to be needed to install the batteries. Batteries are super heavy, and so you need more than one person, maybe 2, 3, 4 people. In any event, so it's going to evolve and change. More than likely, most solar installers will be qualified to get an electrician's license because you do have to spend a lot of time. It's almost like getting a physician's assistant license. The amount of time and schooling you have to go through to get. So not quite a doctor, but I mean, there's apprenticeships and journeymen and lots of experience. So they're trying to figure out, does installing the solar and the batteries, does that qualify as licensed electrical work? So that's still to be determined because the experience requirement is pretty long. I believe it's 6 to 8 years of experience before you can get a licensed electrician. And then, why in the world would you want to do solar? Because you get paid probably 4 times as much as a journeyman electrician. In any event,
but the consumer, this is good for the consumer because no one wants any problems in the walls
correct.
of their house.
Absolutely. Right? Like I said, I think it's really good news for the homeowner, except if now there's let's just say there's 100 solar companies that are doing solar and batteries, and you want a battery for your solar. If these 100 solar companies that only have that C46 license say, yeah, we can just do the solar, then you have to find a company. So that pool of companies is going to be much smaller. I'd say probably 50% is going to be able to install.
Wow.
Batteries.
So, but if you're a listener, you want to ask this, right? One of the questions you want to ask is, hey, do you guys have if you're going to get batteries, right?
Right.
Do you have an electrician doing this work or not?
Yep. Absolutely.
And now, or not, they can't. I mean,
they're not supposed to. we see all kinds of craziness going on. And then one last thing, real quick. There was a fire here in Brentwood where it was a electric car. They thought that the electric car caught on fire. And so what that is, and it didn't, it was something unrelated. And the fire did spread to the electric car, and the fire was put out before it got to the batteries. I guess that's the critical part. But what I've been researching and looking is that it is likely to come very soon that electric vehicles will not be allowed to be parked inside, only outside for electric vehicles. So.
What?
Well,
what you talking about? Huh?
Right. So if I want to install a battery for my house, in California, you cannot install them inside any longer. They have to be installed outside. Yeah. Because the fire department's really worried about these batteries catching on fire. And then what do they do? These are hazardous wastes and things in there, and lithium and, ion and sulfate or iron phosphate, cobalt, all kinds of craziness going on in there.
Okay.
And when they catch on fire, the fire department doesn't want to run in and then, get lithium on them, burning lithium. So,
sure.
I would not be surprised within the next year if there's legislation that says that electric vehicles can only be parked outside. So stay tuned, Adam. Stay tuned.
Oh, boy.
Something to look forward to.
My son's going to love that. He's going to be like, Dad, move that car out of there. He wants to park his car now.
Well, and that's a great question with the electric vehicle charging. A lot of people have it inside the garage.
Of course.
Good news is there will be chargers that are outdoor friendly and outdoor rated.
Oh, great.
I did see a Cybertruck out in the wild today and talked to the homeowner, and he cannot fit it in the garage. He cannot fit it in his driveway. He cannot.
What?
He can't. It's too big.
What?
It's because he can put it in the driveway and then no one can get in and out of the garage because it's too wide. And he is asking me if I wanted to buy it.
Hey, internalize. Do you want this albatross?
Well, he loves the car and everything, but I said, well, you could just build a bigger garage. And he did not find that funny at all. So, there's always something.
Internalize, my friend.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up right there.
All right, thank you very much for taking another few minutes out of your day to learn about the wonderful world of solar, especially in California. Jamie has been doing this podcast for years and years and years, at least 6 years now. So he has covered it all. So if you have a question about solar and you have just a dying question that's got to get answered, go to our Facebook page, Straight Talk Solarcast, send us a message through there. Or you can go to our library of past episodes, go to solarharmonics.com, click on the podcast link at the top of the page, and you'll be taken to that library. Finally, if you have a friend considering going solar, this would be an excellent podcast to recommend to them because it will give them the roadmap for saving thousands upon thousands of dollars over the life of their system. What better friend is that? We always ask. Until next time, everyone. See you.
That's all for now. Thank you for listening to this episode of Straight Talk Solarcast with solar expert Jamie Duran. Join us each week for more answers to your solar questions. Speaking of questions, got some? Email us at solarcast@solarharmonics.com and we'll be sure to give you an answer in an upcoming episode. This episode of Straight Talk Solarcast is brought to you by Solar Harmonics, the leading solar energy developer in Northern California, who invite you to own your energy. Visit them on the web at www.solarharmonics.com.